Hello everybody, my name is Gilman and I buy and collect toys both old and new, and today we're going to feature some that also tie into another hobby I do, which is tabletop gaming. But first we're going to take a look at some Keshi figures before we dive into the real star of this video today. Because these are the whole reason I got into the game. So earlier this year, a toy store I started frequenting started selling a bin of blind bags of these different muscle figures. I got a couple of these muscle bags. I figured these are the best ones to feature the alien packs I had picked up. And while I was going through there, they also had a couple Street Fighter ones, and there's a loose M. Bison and I believe it was Balrog? No. Anyways, so they had some Street Fighter 2. They even had, of course, wrestling. But what I found is that the company itself also made, Super 7 made, their own brand of stuff. And I slowly went down a rabbit hole, even to the point of, I don't even know what company makes these. But there are Scooby-Doo ones out there, too. And I got really enthralled with these. They're not articulated like a lot of the toys I interact with usually. They're hard to really, there's not a way of posing them, but they still have, some charm to them. And I love having weird, unique figures. I've got a xenomorph and then straight up the spooky space kook from Scooby-Doo. It's that wide range. So I got these figures, and what ended up happening was I absolutely love them. I think they look amazing, but there's not much you can do with them. I do toy photography, and, I had a few spots I could get photos in, but I wanted to use them for other stuff too. I had at one point bought a bunch of HeroClix models to remove from the bases to use for, like, custom Marvel tabletop stuff. And it kind of became this thing where I'm like, is there any games out there that use toys in general as your game pieces? There is a war game out there that uses Green Army Men. There's currently somebody out there working on a full-on Lego-based war game. So there's options out there, but there wasn't anything that fully grabbed my attention yet. Then I'm browsing through the internet one day, and I come across a company called Nanobattles. And, they had some cool looking designs. They had their own character designs and different styles, basically. And I was intrigued by it. Intrigued enough, these 3 packs, which I'll be featuring today. You can buy these separately. They will be linked in the description below. But I bought the Founders Pack, which is how you get this bag here, as I knock over the story mode box, which we'll get to in a bit. So I ended up finally breaking down and buying the full Founders Pack, which I think was about $50 with shipping also included, which is about 13 or so odd. Really fun game. It is obviously it tells you on the boxes is like 10 minutes a match, 10 minutes a match, which this is more of an expansion, and then 60 minutes, which I'm still working on this. But we're going to kind of go through the boxes, kind of review them briefly, because this is a really fun game. I want more people to get into this because it's got a lot of potential. It's actually really good now, but it's coming up on another chapter soon. There have been little teasers of new figures and stuff coming out. So for now, we're going to start with the first run of it, talk about it, and see, what you get. So the first thing we're going to start with is the Rumble Pack, if I can get that properly in frame. This is the only thing you need to play this game if you decide to get into it. The Rumble Packs, there are 5 different ones based on the 5 different figure styles you can get. It comes with everything you need to play, 1 to 2 players. And yeah, so we'll unbox this. So first off, you get the figure itself for whatever Rumble Pack. The Darkwood Rumble Pack comes with Ninjak, I believe is what these are called. Different ones come with the different figure sets. They're always going to be black and white, and it's going to have basically multiples of the same character. The next thing you will also get, I'll pull this out first, you get the rule book, which you can also get for free as a digital on the website if you're curious about this game and want to read up on it before purchasing. You get your character cards, which one side has really amazing artwork on it. The other side has your stats for each one. I will show with another pack the way this game is played. The dice are colored, which I will show in a moment. You get little abilities based on whatever space you're on and some little bits. I'll get over that part in a bit. But you get the character cards, you get, I'll flip this over. So your faction cards that each pack comes with also comes with a special additional gameplay modifier. So if you wanted to change up how it plays, you get the rules for the zone. In this case, we have Darkwood forest tiles. The rules are obviously on the other side. Every pack comes with 2 different upgrade cards, basically. So you kind of add on to your characters, with the rules of how it works. You get a little... I actually really like these. These are how you track your health, and also it adds a little bit of a, setup and how to play and it's a general quick start guide. And then you get 2 spark guides, but you also get 2 stacks of what are called command cards. This is how you play. This is a very lightweight game in regards to it being a card game. This is your entire hand. You have 6 cards you can play. Each card has 2 abilities you can activate, and they're numbered 1 through 6. The gimmick of the game is that this is implied that everything is in nanoseconds. So the lower the number, the faster you're going, basically. So if you were to play a card that has a number 2 on it and your opponent plays a 3, your ability is going to go off first before theirs does. And you go back and forth, and your goal of this game is to defeat the opponent. You're going back and forth, fighting, trying to take the health down before time runs out, basically. So we'll fix him back up. Sorry about that, bud. The rest of the components, which we'll pull all the way out because it'll be a little difficult. Another gimmick, though, is all of the boxes that these come in fit the game components that come with it in it. There's only one box, which I'll show later, is the story mode has a little bit of an issue if you sleeve cards, but that is the only box that seems to. These are all sleeved. They fit just fine with the sleeves, the rule book, the figures, the dice, and the stack of tiles they include, which we'll get to in a second. So taking a look at these, we'll set these down. First off, you get 2 clear cubes, which are supposed to be used on the spark gauges. This is just how you keep track of your life. So it's good that they include that, so it's not just, find a component to use. And then you get 2 dice, 1 for each player, that represent the command decks themselves. You can obviously mix and match. I want to use this color command deck, but I'll use this die. Every pack comes with different colored dice and different colored command decks, if it'll stay focused in on the dice. But as you notice, the dice are colored based on the command deck, and then they have different colors on each side. The gimmick of this game is that these colors do matter, especially when you're attacking. There's only one case that it wouldn't matter, and we'll get to that later. So we're going to set these down here like so. So the colors matter because of the tiles. Every pack comes with 7 tiles based on what pack you got. So if you picked up a Darkwood Rumble pack and then you picked up a Hexagon pack, the rules for these tiles are slightly different because they'll have some special abilities. So all these tiles have a faction marked on them, because these characters do have factions, and then 3 of them have some special gimmick to them. So Darkwood will have these vines, which are explained in the rules, that can slow your stuff down. Hexagon has spaces that give or take away health. But I'll show using the fitting one. The faction for this is the... can't recall what they call it. Thankfully, they give you a nice handy dandy thing. The Nanoids. So one of the abilities you can do in this game is called an ultra attack. You can only do an ultra attack if the figure matches its faction base, basically. So if you're standing on here, you can do an ultra attack from here. You can also check the faction of a figure based on, they have an emblem on the back. But continuing on from there, kind of finishing out what the dice do. When you go to attack, whatever color your dice is on, because your die, whatever you roll, stays there until you re-roll it for any reason, that is what you get to add to your attack. So if you had an attack value of just a 1, you would go, okay, well, I have 1, I'm on a green, so I get a +1, and then any other additional things would get added on top of that. Really easy to grasp rules. Like once you get over that, I've had games where I've had to spend way too long trying to figure out the rules. This one, after I kind of got over the weird hurdles from me just needing to fully understand the game, which is just a problem for me, this game is really simple to pick up, play, and then put back in. I've played so many matches of this. It also has a solo mode, which is very simple. The only difference is instead of having somebody play their command cards against you, you shuffle the opposing command deck, and you basically just draw from the top. So it's a very simple solo mode, very easy game to get into, and this is just the core box. They retail for just this box is about $20. All the other boxes are about $20. This is probably my favorite design out of all of them, but they all have amazing designs. But that is your starter pack, and we will move these out of the way, and we will show off the next major piece that you can get in this. And actually, it is more of a booster pack, which is the Wild Nanoid packs. Obviously, Wave 1 meaning that these are specifically this first run of them. There are 10 total of these packs you can get. They're all numbered when you receive them. So if you're missing certain like color combos and stuff like that, you can kind of go back and say, hey, I got this one. I need these. But the gimmick of this is this gives you extra figures to play as out of the 5, and it'll give you different colors. This is not the whole selection. There is a total of, I'd like to say, 60 colors or 60 figures per color, plus an additional 60 because of the fact that there are battle damage versions. But the gimmick, obviously, is all of the figures and cards for these packs fit in the box. And actually, I've got a little extra room in there. Same situation. They all come with their ability cards, just with the different color added to them. In fact, the biggest gimmick is clear ones. They make it where the artwork behind it kind of shows up behind him. The major difference with a lot of these, so characters that are like black, white, clear, or glow in the dark have the wheel. That means whenever you go to do attacks and stuff, you're basing your additional points off of the tile of whatever your die's on. So if I was on a red, I would base it off of the red number. However, when you have characters that are like a single color, like an orange, like that's a red and yellow, instead of having to roll for that, you pick, okay, well, I'm on this tile. Do I go with the red number on this tile, or do I go with the yellow? So it adds a little bit of strategy if you're using other ones. And this also allows you to kind of get a lot of the figures without having to buy all the Rumble packs. I do recommend it, though, if you want to get more tiles and mix up the stuff. But just amazing. We've seen the Ninjax. So we've got Wrecker here, which is kind of your... to me, he kind of reminds me of a Transformer meets a Space Marine. I mean, he's got a straight-up Warhammer. Amazing design. And the figures, which we'll show off, too, match it. Alpha is straight up just kind of your traditional Iron Giant, robot design. Really nice. I like how simple and just perfect it is. Trex, or as for some reason I called him Gator Man because I didn't even pay attention to the name and I thought, oh, he kind of looks like a gator. So T-Rex, who is kind of your dinosaur themed character, really cool, ripped jean jacket type look. And then Blastrid, who is kind of... makes me think a little bit of Marvel, Green Goblin, and a little bit of, Conan the Barbarian. She's also one of the I say harder to get. She's one of the colors that is a clear one. As you can tell, the art kind of shows behind her. And the figures themselves, which I got to put one off to the side for a reason. The figures themselves, obviously, we've already seen a Ninjak regular, but we do have... So here's the clear one, which I think this looks just beautiful. These sculpts, especially with how they've cast them, is just amazing. So here's the clear one. Here's the glow-in-the-dark one, which these are only UV reactive. You can't use your phone flashlight. I have interacted with stuff, and I have tested to see if I can get these to glow under a regular just flashlight. But if you notice carefully, the sculpt, like his shoulders kind of gnawed off. It looks like the cloth on him is kind of torn. And you compare it to the clear one, and you'll notice that the sculpt's very different. there's certain parts that are the same, head and all that, but in all actuality, this is a battle damage version, so I do have a good point of comparison of how these look. And the battle damage version's just as well sculpted. I mean, it is amazing. Moving on from our Ninjax, which we have seen prior to this, here is T-Rex, who I have it's another battle damage version, because usually he has just a full vest and his jeans are fully there. But it kind of gives him that kind of almost Hulk style look where it looks like he's, transformed into this, but amazing sculpt. And again, here's his little symbol on the back. I like how it kind of molds in as if it's a, part of the jacket. Amazing design. Next is Alpha. Again, this is the traditional version. He is a, traditional robot, and that's why he has like a cool sciencey symbol on his back. Again, amazing sculpt work. Even for something as basic as this, you get the little lines coming through. Blastrid, who is our next one. This is one of they have a total of 2 clear styles, this violet one and the clear one. I don't recall if there's any more. You could also technically count glow in the dark because it is slightly translucent. But here's Blastrid and Violet. And mind you, there are more colors in this. This is lime. They also have a just green, which is darker. You have yellows, reds, every color under the sun almost, it feels like. They also, you can go onto their site, which I will link in the description like everything else. On their site, they do have a checklist of every figure style, broken and color variation that you can get, which makes it a lot easier. But yeah, here's Blastrid with just an amazing, this is the regular one. She has the cool symbol on the back, which, focus. Amazing sculpt work. She is a lot smaller than, she's the same height, but she is a lot thinner than a lot of the rest of them, which is interesting to note. And of course, it is time for Wrecker, our Warhammer style kind of figure. This is the battle damage version. His faction is very special. There are 5 factions total. This I remember because it's the Chaos faction. His gimmick is that whoever he's battling against, he uses that faction as his faction. I don't fully remember. I don't get to play this guy that often. I don't fully remember what the rule was when it's Chaos against Chaos, so I'll have to double check. The rulebook is very in-depth, if I can find it. Yeah, the rulebook's very in-depth for all that stuff. So if you're ever confused, other than just asking, this does have a lot of all that in there. But continuing on with Wrecker, amazing sculpt. Let me get a good close-up of his face. I mean, the amount of detail you're getting out of a figure that is this small is just amazing. Plates broken, amazing helmet design, the plating on him, just an amazing figure. I absolutely love these. I did get a lot of the orders. You may get an extra figure in. It's not a guarantee, but I did get a glow-in-the-dark Rex, which it's the same battle damage one. But I absolutely love these glow-in-the-dark figures. I am a sucker for gimmicks. But these wild Nanoid packs, the kind of gimmick is buy a bunch of these after you get like a core box, and you get a whole bunch of different ways to play. You get different, color variations of the characters. And, yeah, and it all stores in the box itself, which I do love the gimmick that all of these are portable. That is the biggest thing for me is I love tabletop gaming, but the biggest problem I can have sometimes is I can't just, take a whole box of a board game with me. So these being as small as they are is really helpful. And I will talk about the bag at the end of this and kind of explain that works pretty well too. But the last thing we're going to talk about is story mode in regards to the box stuff. Story mode requires a base box and a wild Nanoid pack. It even says it on the back. But this allows you to either obviously co-op with people or solo it. This is a separate game mode basically that adds a little bit to the game. I actually have 2 boxes for it. Mainly because if you're not like me, where I sleeve everything, this will not be a problem. Everything fits in this box when it's not sleeved. If it is sleeved, you will probably see another, I used a dragon sleeve box, obviously. So we're just going to unbox the first part of this, and then we'll pull the cards out for the other part. But first off, you get a baggie of goodies. If I remember correctly, I had to punch all these out. You get another tile, to add onto your board. You get, because the gimmick is you're going to have, like, possibly a team of, they're called Nanoids. You get these little extra bits to add to your collection, basically, where you can track health and stuff on these instead. You also get little tiles that are used in the game itself. So these little boxes. If I can actually show them on camera, sorry about that. These little boxes that have little symbols on the other side, which there is a reference guide down here. 2 different power cubes. And again, like I said, the extra tile. As you notice, all the tiles have a different, have the same back art, but they are different art on the front other than the numbers. If I remember correctly, there is really amazing artwork on all of them. I know it's simple for it's just the background, but the Darkwoods Forest one, I'll grab one off to the side, has the little foresty design on it. There is the one that comes with Blastrid, which I believe has kind of this rubbled effect. And, it's just, there's those different styles that look really cool, even if it's just, the background of what you're playing on top of. But continuing on with the little special components in this box, we get a whole bunch more clear cubes, which are used for, obviously, keeping track of health as prior. They come with, obviously, the rule book for Chapter 1, which you can also get a digital copy via that QR code. Again, it's supposed to fit everything into the box. Out of the little special components, it also includes these really cool transparent cards that you're supposed to be able to stack on your Nanoids. I still haven't gotten to that point yet of how to use them. I'm still figuring it out. But with that in mind, let's take a look at the actual rest of the cards, because you get a bunch. When you play a game of story mode, you get the cards you need to start, a little story that goes through it. You get a whole stack of gear. You get a stack for how you're supposed to set up the field. You get an encounter deck, which are these kind of colorful backed ones. And then you get the extra game modes at the bottom, which is, Cargo Blitz, Faction Surge, Rival Story, and then that's how you get the Rival one, and then the other modes. These add a little bit extra to story mode itself too, or you can possibly repurpose it for the traditional game. You get a lot of cards for this box set. Again, the only downside is you need to have other parts of the game. So this isn't just you buy story mode and you have a full game to run. But that's not too bad. If you're just doing, if you want to get into the game and you decide to get into story mode later on, perfect. If not, it's still a good thing to have on hand if you decide to do down the line. If I remember, I don't recall the pricing on this guy. Or I say this guy. I should point out the actual box and not the deck box. I don't recall the pricing on this guy, but it's not a requirement to get this. I think if you're more into the actual battle side of this game, where you just want to collect and battle against people, I think just stick with one of the core boxes or get a couple core boxes for other tiles, and then push to get a bunch of the Wild Nanoid boxes. It is a fun game, though, nonetheless. Like I said, links for each individual product. I will put a link to the Founders Pack, too, which gives you your choice of starter box, story mode, and then it gives you a Wild Nanoid pack. I will link that, too, if it is still available. Awesome. If not, I apologize for those who may have missed out on that. But with Founders Pack, you do get all 3 of these. Plus, it comes with a carry case with all the artwork on it, including artwork that hides at the bottom, which is interesting. And the gimmick of this is that, I'll do it real quick off to the side so I can get this showed off. I can actually fit all of the deck boxes plus my additional one for story mode in here. We'll use the camera to do this. So it's got enough room in there. And as far as I know at the current moment, you can only get this bag in the Founders Pack. I know that's a niche thing to be like, oh yeah, you can only get storage that way. But if you're really into the game, I mean, that's a little cool extra to get. I'll even turn these around in case anybody wants to see the backs while I'm getting the next thing ready. So really fun game. The boxes themselves, again, $20 for a game that you can just pick up and play is not bad at all. Especially considering like most board games nowadays are about $20, $30 or more. You know, you get that range. There is going to be a pack soon that's coming out where it is going to be just a set of cards where you can bring these guys in. So they're just cards with generic, titles on them. They have their abilities on them, and you can just bring in your own figures. So I'm very excited because they do have an alien. They have one called Weirdo. You got Villain, which I've used both M. Bison and Skeletor to represent. But there's the options for them, and they're supposed to all represent kind of they're supposed to be very nostalgic to the other figures from the past, Battle Beast, Muscle, just Keshi figures in general. With that being said, though, I hope you enjoyed the video. I will leave, like I said, links in the description for all of the products featured in this video, with the exception of these guys. I don't believe these are sold anymore, or at least easily. But all Nano Battle related products, Story Mode, the Darkwood Rumble Pack, and the Nanoid packs, plus the Founder Edition in case you decide to go for all three, will be linked in the description below with a referral code. I do appreciate it if anybody does use it. And until then, enjoy toy collecting, and I hope you enjoy this game too.